Merry Christmas, everyone. We are going to start with this cute little stocking. And I am cutting my bag. The first thing that we're going to do is the furry part. And so that is this top fold over part of the stocking, the traditional furry white with the red velour. I'm not sure I would call my dollar store purchases velour. However, that's the look we're going for. And this particular stocking is actually going to be done similar to a sweater. All right, so this doesn't have to be anything fancy because we're gonna put the sugars on it. So I'm just gonna dump some sugar over the top. Make sure I dump it nice and solid. And then if I need to, I can come back through here. Oh my gosh, guys, I've been mixing icing. My hands are a disaster. I just did the entire rainbow. I needed some variety of colors. So we are going to then go ahead and put it here. Now, I'm going to show you the sweater technique. However, you can go ahead if you're not confident and comfortable with that. Not to say I don't want you to try, but you can do the toe and the heel and it looks really, really cute, just like that. So we are going to do, we did our outline, we're going to do our trim. Now we'll fill it in. Remember, mow the yard here. Just make sure you hit every spot. We don't want any holes. I think I need to cut my bag a tiny bit larger. This one's tricky because we're going to use red for fill and for some of our smaller details. So make sure and don't cut that red too much. Otherwise, your details are not going to show up the way you want them. Okay, so that, with a little shake, is our stocking. Okay, so I'm going to move this over, and I want to go ahead and get some icing on our gingerbread man or woman, however you want to work it. So you're going to do your outline. Make sure that when you do it, your points or your inverse points come in just a little bit farther than what they look like on the cookie. Because when you fill it in, they will scooch out just a little bit. Okay, so this guy kind of looks a little bit like Gumby. And we are just laying the foundation of our gingerbread here. We'll come back here in just a little bit and put our details on the top. All right, I'm gonna cut this one a little more too. I guess I'm being real conservative this evening. It's evening here. I don't know when you guys are doing this. There we go. You want to make sure and get a complete fill. If you don't, your icing is not going to level out the way that you want it to. Oh, shoot. I think we've got a ghost around here, so the light has been kind of crazy. Flashing on and off. Okay, I'm gonna get a real solid trim here. Squeezing the heck out of that bag. This little cutter reminds me of Gingy from Shrek Shrek cracks me up, but little characters are awesome. Okay, so we're gonna set that guy aside as well. Excuse me. All right, we need to also lay the foundation of our little Santa hat. Now I want you to look at this. We are going to do that first hump about like that. Then we're going to do the ball of the hat about like that. Okay, so I went from the first hump over. Santa kind of has a crooked hat to some degree. He's styling, don't worry about it. And this is the little brim, the fold up. Do try and make sure to not touch the whites together. So we've got the ball at the tip of his hat, we've got the brim, and then we're going to again pour sugar over it. I don't have with me right now anything large enough to catch it all, but we are going to sprinkle a little bit of sugar on these areas to make them look nice and fuzzy and furry. And then when you shake it, it kind of helps the loose ones attach, and then whatever isn't caught in the wet icing will fall off. And so then you can scooch everything up or leave it a little, I don't want to say raggedy, but leave it a little bit there. The next thing that we are going to do is his beard. So we're going to come about like that. We want to do a little face. We don't have much going on here for face, and that's okay because his beard and his hat are Santa's most important features. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and fill it in. So we're gonna do the beard, and then next we'll do the hat, and then we're gonna put him away. This Santa has a few different time pieces that we need to pay attention to so that we can layer it the way that we want. There we go. So I'll shake them a little bit. That should even out. And then I'm also going to go ahead, because we use the sugars, so it will automatically offer us that quilting appearance. And you want to trim right up next to, you don't have to outline, but trim right up next to the sugar. And then we're just going to fill in our hat. All right, and we are going to let Santa chill at this point. So set that guy aside. I'm going to move him over. The next thing we're looking at is our snowman. And because we want our snowman to have the appearance of 3 big old snowballs, we're going to do this in sections. So we're going to start with the middle section. And we are rounding here because we want that face snowball to be as big as we can get it. And then a slight round. And we're going to put his chest right here. Okay, and then let's see. I want to do a green hat on this one. So I am going to just do this part right here. And if you want, you can add some sugars. Now, if I was going to do that, if it were me doing this in a different order, I would have done this first. But if you didn't, you can hold your cookie upside so that it just grabs on that end and the little body doesn't get sprinkled on. Okay. Oh gosh, sugar's everywhere. Okay. I promise my hands are clean. I just literally, if I could show you, I have an entire rainbow of about 40 colors over here. And sometimes that'll stain just because it will. All right. And then because we put sugar on it, we can go ahead and finish his hat now. But we don't want to put any more icing on him because if we put it on now, it's all going to melt together. So we're going to let this middle part, the middle snowball, crust, and then we'll come back and we'll do every other part. The reason we started there is because that lays our foundation, like our base, and then we can come back. None of the other sections are touching and we can finish all four. I do want to look at, though, putting some buttons on him. So I'm only going to do 2 buttons, and I'm using these little red ones. Now that one did not land where I wanted it, so let me see. Let's sneak it over. Okay, so I'm going to leave that, set it aside, and we'll come back to him here in a little bit. Okay. The next one that I want to do is, I think I'm going to outline in red. This is our banner. Actually, let's see. We're going to do, scratch that. We're going to do the little palms on the banner first. And you can do those as snowballs, or you can do those with these balls. I'm going to do snowball style. Okay, so I've got 2 little snowballs over here. This sugar is actually the coarse sugar, a coarse, the term is sprinkle, but the finer stuff is called sanding sugars. So there's all sorts of cool stuff, but you want the coarse in order to get the coarse sugar in order to get that sparkle. And I think it's perfect for snow. So then we're going to lay our outlines. And remember, this works so much better if you really pull it up and just kind of lay it down like that shoelace. And then we're going to come back and outline all of our flags. Okay, so I think this looks best when our flags are separate. So making sure that you have a space in between. Then it really looks like little pennants. And the reason we're laying this foundation before we're not going to fill it yet is because if we can do this and get our lines somewhat crisp and make adjustments here, let it crust, our fill is going to be so much easier. So we're going to stop here. We've got our snowballs out here, or you can use some of your sprinkles. And then we're going to move it away, right? And our last one that we are going to put icing on is our tree, okay? So we're going to start at the tippy top. Oh, I think I cut my bag sideways. I don't have a whole lot of control over it, so I did. I cut it at an angle, and that just does not allow the icing to come out of the bag the way we want it. Again, kind of exaggerate these points and divots so that you can make it look like a really, I don't know, this one to me looks really girly, although I'm not sure that's the term I really want to use. Just because it's got sweet, curly, scalloped branches. we're trimming it. And because putting the ornaments or the sprinkles on now is going to be our best bet, we're going to go ahead and do that. You want to make sure that when you put sprinkles on like this, that the icing is going to operate as glue, essentially. So as the icing dries, the sprinkle is held into place. Man, this color is one of my favorites, like a jade. Okay, so now I'm going to very specifically place my sprinkles. I'm going to start with the larger ones. And I don't know if this is how you guys decorate your tree at home. I might be a complete weirdo, but we also very specifically place ornaments, starting with the bigger ones and the more, how do I say, unique ones, and then we go back and do our balls. So I kind of do the same thing with this tree and these sprinkles. I am going to put the balls on first and do them almost in layers. So we're doing the ornaments, and then I really like these red discs. I couldn't tell you why. They're just something that's sparked me this year. Oh no. Okay. And then these blue sprinkles I just thought were super cool. So then I'm going to look through here, and feel free to like push some things out. I'm going to get my smaller ones and from the bottom here and just kind of sprinkle those around. Almost like confetti. And that's how we are decorating the tree here. Start big and then come through and do small. And again, that's how I kind of decorate my own tree. If that's not something that you normally do, that is the technique I used for this tree. So we're going to come back and add a bow and a stem, but we're going to wait a few minutes. So I'm going to set that guy aside as well. And we have put icing on every single one of our cookies at this point. So we're going to come back to the first one, and we're going to come down and see if we can add some sweater detail, some knitting. So I always like to start right here so there's not a funky, I don't know, edge on there. And I eyeball this. I couldn't tell you the distance apart. Sometimes I can give you an idea, but this one is an eyeball, maybe a ½ inch. Okay, so I went through and I am just doing crisscrosses. And because this is, as we do, a suggestion of, or an abstract sweater, it is not anything super fancy. And so I'm going to go back and do that in between each of my lines. And this is how we got the sweater effect. It's almost like V's that overlap each other. And I'm going to show you. So this is the technique that I typically use, but if this does not feel like it's working for you, you can go through and do a squiggle and then add extra lines down and then do another squiggle. And you will get a very similar outlook. So this is the simpler one, you know, like in a workout video where they give you modifications. Those are the ones I use. So you can do the V's, the overlapping V's or X's, or you can do this one and it looks really totally great. So don't feel like you have to keep going with this or even attempt it if you're not feeling it today. So that completes our stocking. Now I'm bringing our Santa Claus back, and we've got to give him a face. So we are going to fill in with this nice, beautiful brown face. And then I wish we could do more for him right now, but we really just have to let him be and let the face tone crust. So I'm bringing back Gingy. And gingerbreads are weird. I don't know where this tradition came from, but it's a squiggly line on top, a squiggly line on each appendage, so arms and legs. And then I had used, we're going to give our gingerbread man blue eyes. So 2 blue eyes, and I gave him the cutest little lips. It's almost like a little heart from your practice sheet. And then we were looking through, and I'm going to give him, oh no, there we go. I'm going to give him some gold buttons. And you can do this however you want. Those little red dots would be really cute too as buttons. But that is finishing off the gingerbread man. How cute is he? Okay, coming back to our banner is where we're headed next. Okay, and you can do any color combo. I should have mentioned that before. You can do absolutely any color combo, but we're going to come, you can see that really, truly, those have crusted and are drying out just because they're such nice thin lines. So we are going to go in here and do our fill, our flood. Don't feel like it has to be perfect right now, because what we're going to do is I usually do a couple, and then I bring my tool back and scooch it in, because this is such a small area to flood. It's more of getting icing in that area and then scooching it around to where it needs to go. So pushing it up in the corners. Remember, wherever you move it, kind of sticks there. That's how we get the nice points. And so since we had the room in between these, we really do have the effect of nice little flags, because they're all separate. Okay, so this guy's missing some. Let's move this up. Don't hesitate to put enough icing in there, because if you're going to scooch it, you're going to need enough to scooch. Otherwise, it will not smooth itself out and look really finished, I guess. It'll just kind of look rough. In fact, I think I need to add more here. So you can also do this. We could have done green outline with green flood or fill. That actually is a little bit easier sometimes to get the fill because it hides any imperfections. But I kind of like this red border on here. It's just a little festive. And then we'll come back and write merry or jolly on, or you could do joy with little snowflakes on the side. But you pick your word. I did the 5 flags so that we had lots of options. You can do that now. For this one, I would do white. We want some seriously contrasting colors. For this one, I would do white. So when I come back, actually, I'm going to do it now. I can't wait. So I'm going to do joy. If you look at the picture, I did merry or jolly. But for this one, this is only 3 letters, so I'm going to do a snowflake on each. And this is a little bit ridiculously tedious, but it's an option. I can't talk and think about doing this at the same time. Apparently, too tiny. My snowflakes almost always have 6 arms. So it'll all smooth out nice and flat. If you do it wet on wet, you can also come back and do it on top, and that actually looks really great too. Simply, it sets on top of the flag and the letters kind of pop. But you can do it now or later. That is finishing up our flags. I believe we are ready for our snowman. So, yep, we are nice and crusted on here. So when I come up next to his belly, I get a really nice seam right there, and I want it to look like stacked snowballs. So that's exactly what I want. And then we're gonna have some chubby little arms here. This guy says, forget the sticks. Sun's out, guns out. And we're just gonna give him some chubby little arms, and then his face, of course. Under that hat. So we've got all of our snow pieces settled. For his eyeballs, we can use, let's see, there's some silver ones in here that I thought were kind of cool. So these little silver balls, if you want something darker, you can also use the green. Okay, and then I found the cutest little noses, carrot noses. And so I'm gonna put that on there. And then the last little bit was I wanted to add a scarf. So just a little line here, and maybe, there we go. So that's our little snowman with a carrot nose and a scarf. Okay, and our last thing that we need to do, and guys, in my mess of a workstation over here, my bag totally smushed the wet icing of my tree, but we're going to, see, that was it. Part of why my fingers are so ridiculous. We're going to add the trunk of the tree. Since we have our brown, and then we're going to finish off the top of the tree, and I kind of did that like a figure 8 on its side. And we can do these if we want or not, and our little ball, or our little disc, sugar disc, will go right there. And that is your finished tree. Guys, we did the tree, the snowman, Gingy, and our stocking are all done. We've just got to finish up Santa Claus. So let's get these guys out of the way. And here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus. We're gonna start with his eyebrows, because they're big and bushy old man eyebrows. And then we are going to use, I think I'm gonna do, well, I'm gonna do little green eyes this time. And we're gonna come around and give him a handlebar, ginormous handlebar mustache. everybody knows that Santa participates in No Shave November, so he's a pretty furry guy. Okay, and we can put a little lip here if you choose, and a little button nose, just like the poem. If you tap without squeezing, you can get some little eye highlights. I don't know if that looks like something you're interested there, but we finish our little Santa with mustache eyebrows, a little lip if you want, a nose, and eyeballs. And you can use anything in your little sprinkle mix, or you can use the green like I did. You have all those options for the gingerbread man, the snowman, and Mr. Claus. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a blast. Enjoy whoever you're decorating with. Don't take the holidays too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. And thanks for participating. Bye-bye.